From high atop the battlements of Hurricane Central, where I guess there would be some certain poetic justice in it if I wound up being killed in my sleep by a woman named Hillary. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America and all ships at sea, including all the Navy ships in San Diego that have been sent out to the open ocean to ride out the storm, because that's a first. Welcome to the program. I'm your eponymous host and humble servant. And so yeah, I do have one fun little hurricane story right off the bat, if you want to hear it. My landlord calls up last night. He says, with this big storm about to roll in, I'm kind of concerned about those trees in the backyard, and I want to come over and trim them tomorrow just to make sure they don't blow down in the storm. Now, there's about a 20-foot tall grade in the backyard, and then the trees start there, and you're talking about a minimum of 100-foot tall from ground level when you get up to the top of these things. I think he didn't quite realize that. I think he was probably thinking more along the lines of what they looked like 15 or 20 years ago. Shows up this morning with his son. They've got a couple of chainsaws and an 8-foot ladder. They go back there for about 20, 25 minutes. He comes back out and he says, I think I need a tree guy for this. Well, Shazam, you're not going to get the job done 100-foot high with your little 8-foot ladder and your little chainsaw. Imagine that. And I'm hoping somebody shows up in the chat, because I really don't have anything planned except to play the new song, which I did manage to get finished in time for the start of the stream. And I am dressed for the occasion, because if I die in a hurricane tonight, I want to go out wearing my best. It's like Benjamin Guggenheim when he went down with the Titanic. He said, "Nope, I'm not putting my life belt on. I'm going to go put on my white tie and tails. Me and my valet are prepared to perish like gentlemen." And unless anybody tells me different, I think I'm just gonna play the song right now. Is there anybody even here? Let's see if there's anybody here. Three people are here. Make yourselves known. There's a link in the chat if anybody wants to pop on. That's fine too. I think I would like to let people filter in if they are going to filter in before I play the song. We could check out some Hurricane Hillary news headlines. I haven't been keeping up these last few hours. Oh, Bon Jovi Bandit, welcome. Glad to see you. Thanks for being here. I think I need to I heard that it was downgraded from a Cat 4 to a Cat 3 earlier this morning, but when I was reading the news headlines just now, I was seeing a lot of words like devastating, cataclysmic, apocalyptic in terms of the amounts of rainfall that are expected. So maybe let's run through a couple of news stories before we do anything else. And I did that wrong. But I think this is going to be effectively just an open forum, open Q&A, or whatever you want to call it. Like I said, I don't really have anything planned except for the playing of My Baggy's Got a Hole in It. Now let me see if I can figure out how to share this screen here. There we are. Landslides, mudslides, and debris possible from Hillary's impact in San Diego, which is, speaking of that, I kind of always imagined that I wouldn't be doing a hurricane live stream until I moved out of California, but I guess this is the hand that life has dealt me, and there does seem to be something slightly backward about the fact that we are in the month of August, and Hawaii has wildfires, and San Diego has a hurricane. Seems like that's, I don't know, a little bit backward, but just remember, ladies and gentlemen, if there is any adverse weather event that happens anywhere in the world, it is not because of the natural cyclical fluctuations in the world climate. It is not because of normal weather patterns that can be measured in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. No. It is all because you drive a pickup truck and don't vote the right way. And I want you to remember that. The desert and mountain areas, the NWS has warned of dangerous to locally catastrophic flooding. See, there's that word, catastrophic. Forecasted rainfall amounts for these areas during the brunt of the storm range from 3 to 10 inches. And that's, I mean, for us, 10 inches is probably a decent winter most years. So that gives you some idea of, hey, Squatch is here. Jump on, Squatch. You got the link. I figured you were going to be streaming right now, so I didn't want to interrupt your stream, but if you're available, jump the hell on, dude. If you need me to repost the link, I'll repost the link. This chance of widespread moderate to heavy rain creates a high risk of flash, urban, and arroyo flooding, NWS explained. This means there's potential for landslides, mudslides, and debris flow in the desert and mountain areas. County and Cal Fire officials are offering advice and free sandbags for those living in the unincorporated part of the region. More on how to... that's nonsense. We don't care about that. Those on the coast, downtown, and more urban areas may be out of the woods, but that doesn't mean there aren't precautions to consider. I myself am in the inland North San Diego County area, so we are right in the red color of the hurricane track the last time I checked, so how exciting. Never had that before. Large swells are expected to be produced by Hillary along the San Diego coastline for the next few days, according to NWS. This may cause life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. And that's what a hurricane normally means around here. If it's a hurricane or a tropical storm, that means there's some stuff going on down in Baja, and the surf is going to be really awesome here for a couple of days, but that's normally about the extent of our involvement in such things as far as hurricanes and tropical storms go. The City of San Diego's Stormwater Department has placed no parking signs in low-lying or flood risk areas, including crossings around the San Diego River. I guess we're also going to find out whether hurricane force winds can actually create a cyclone of poop and used hypodermic needles in the downtown area. I'm just saying. Officials have advised the public to follow these signs and not to drive through flooded areas. Words to live by, ladies and gentlemen. So if the water is 10 feet deep, don't try to drive your car through it. Probably not going to end very well for you. Expect torrential rain, damaging winds, flooding, and more. Driving conditions will be dangerous. Stay home, advised the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. So it's just like COVID. Stay home, save lives, right? Sandbags are available. Well, we already know that. Multiple crews from the city's storm patrol will be monitoring areas throughout the county and responding to incidents like flooding and downed trees or branches. And we just talked about trees and branches already, didn't we? Like I think my landlord would actually need to hire a pretty intrepid tree climber to get up there and top those trees in my backyard. And they're leaning. I have looked up there from time to time and said, you know, if those things come down, if those things ever happen to be blown over, it probably wouldn't be a very happy ending for me and Lady Curmudgeon. But hey, you know, when you're the owner of the property, sometimes that never occurs to you until the freaking hurricane is 24 hours out. So what do you do? I don't like this article. Let's try a different one. There you go. Where is Hurricane Hillary right now, and when will the storm hit San Diego? Hurricane Hillary is expected to bring between 2 and 10 inches of rain, depending on region. Winds up to 73 miles per hour, flash floods, and possible mudslides between Saturday and Monday, with the strongest impacts coming Sunday morning and evening. Hurricane Hillary sped up a bit Saturday morning, shifting slightly eastward in its track and downgraded.
I'm meteorologist Brooke Martell. Taking a look at Hurricane Hillary right now as you're seeing this. This is close to the 6:30 hour on this Saturday morning. 240 miles west and southwest of the southern tip of Baja, California. So taking a look at the storm track here. Hurricane Hillary.
Thank you. A first ever tropical storm warning was issued for Southern California as Hurricane Hillary threatened to deliver rain, flash flooding, and strong winds to the San Diego County area this weekend in a historic severe weather event. You idiot writer. It's not ahistoric, it's an historic. Do I have to teach you people everything? Hillary strengthened to a Category 4 hurricane Friday and was downgraded Saturday to a Category 2 as it moved up Mexico's Pacific coast. The system is expected to weaken to a tropical storm over the weekend, but that will still mean rare August rain in SoCal and possible catastrophic flooding. There's that word again. During what is historically the region's driest month of the year. You don't need to tell me that. Water falling out of the sky in August, that is extremely unnatural. The anticipated arrival of Hillary's most severe rainfall has changed from initial estimates of late Sunday to earlier Sunday and into the evening hours. Impacts from that rain could continue well into the overnight hours and Monday, including widespread flash flooding. Damaging winds are possible in some areas. SoCal residents are bracing for a high risk of flash, urban, and yeah, we already heard that already. No tropical storm has made landfall in Southern California since 25 September 1939. 3 weeks after the start of the Second World War, incidentally, when a system lost its hurricane status just before moving onshore in Long Beach. The results were catastrophic. Category 3 Hurricane Hillary appears to be on track for an earlier than previously expected arrival in Southern California as a tropical storm. The heaviest rain is likely to begin early Sunday and continue into the afternoon. Clouds are going to be increasing for today, Saturday. We have the chance of more rain as we head into the morning, especially across the eastern areas of San Diego County. And then the coast and inland valleys will follow. That's me. As we head into tonight, Saturday. By Sunday, winds increase. We have heavy rain. That's when the storms really start to develop. Monday, we'll see a little bit more rain and wind, but that's when the storm will be leaving, heading into the afternoon. In an update early Saturday morning, the National Hurricane Center, how awesome, the National Hurricane Center is covering San Diego. What a head trip that is. Said heavy rain will begin well in advance of the center of the storm. The storm was centered about 240 miles west-southwest of the southern tip of the Baja Peninsula and moving north-northwest at 13 miles per hour. The system was expected to turn more toward the north and increased speed. According to the National Weather Service, sped up a bit. Yeah, we just heard that. That's what we just all read in the article. Is there nobody chatting, or is that my computer? I guess there's nobody chatting. Should I just play the song, or should I do some more hurricane stuff first? Somebody give me some guidance here. This is your program. Oh, San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria. Here's some strong, intrepid leadership for you. Gloria advised community members to avoid driving in flood zone areas, words to live by. Ensure gutters and storm drains are clear from debris. And charge essential devices, because that means we cannot guarantee the power is going to remain on because we are completely incompetent and have no idea what we're doing. So get all your shit charged up. We're just saying. The city's storm patrol crews will respond to temporary flooding and downed trees and branches. And you'll have to forgive me, but I don't have a whole hell of a lot of faith in something called the San Diego Storm Patrol. As for the unsheltered population, does that mean vagrants and hobos? Because I think that means vagrants and hobos. Gloria said there are an additional 192 shelter beds available at 4 locations, and that 146 people from the safe sleeping site at 20th and B have been temporarily relocated to Golden Hall. So if you were planning a convention this weekend, sorry, you're screwed. Because that's a homeless slumber party now. But you still don't get your money back. Now here's a reassuring quote from the mayor. Quote, I want to say, rest assured that our city crews and first responders are ready to respond to the impacts and emergencies that will come. And we appreciate you doing your part to make sure we can all stay safe together. Governor Gavin Newsom, speaking of strong, intrepid leadership, was in San Diego, which is kind of icky, visiting the Emergency Operations Center. According to Gloria, he assured me that the state of California is watching and monitoring the storm closely because that takes a lot of skill, and that the full weight of our state government will be here to support our city before, during, and after this event. California Governor's Office of Emergency Service held a press conference Saturday afternoon with officials from the NWS, the state's Department of Water Resources. What the hell does the Department of Water Resources have to do with water falling out of the sky? I think that's not a water resource. I think that's just rain. Doesn't water resources mean allocating the water you already have? I'm asking too many questions here. This storm will also bring the potential for isolated tornadoes. Ooh! Like I said, poop and syringes. They're going to get kicked up into a cyclone. You'll see. Got it, Squash. No worries. In addition, we're expecting life-threatening surf and rip current conditions along the beaches of Southern California. The worst impacts are expected on the east side of the inland mountains and into the desert southwest, said Courtney Carpenter from the NWS. And is it bad that I automatically have less faith in a public official with an alliterative name? That's probably prejudiced and bigoted of me, isn't it? Make no mistake, this is a very, very dangerous, two varies, and significant storm, said Cal EOS Director Nancy Ward. Because every top government official now is a woman, and that's just the way things go. There will be power outages, make no mistake. There will be power outages across Southern California. If you do not need to be on the roadways, we are asking you to postpone any of your non-essential travel until the peak of the storm passes, said Caltrans Director Tony Tavares. Well, we got one dude around here at least. That's something. Unless it's a chick named Tony, in which case I'm completely wrong. FEMA, in this stage, we're going to emphasize on preparedness. You've heard it, and yet you're not able to hear it enough. And that it is now the time to be prepared and get prepared. Said FEMA Deputy Regional Administrator Tammy Luttrell. Another chick. 3 out of 4. Hillary was upgraded Thursday night to a Category 4 hurricane as wind speeds reached major hurricane level, prompting for the first time ever a tropical storm warning for Southern California. The National Hurricane Center said, I understand the last time a hurricane made windfall in Southern California was in 1858. And that was also because you drive a pickup truck and don't vote correctly. Have no illusions about that. Heavy tropical rain from the storm could create flash flooding in San Diego County as soon as Sunday. Hillary also has the potential to produce large swells to the coastline, according to NBC7 meteorologists. And here's another thing I want to tell you about San Diego when there's a major storm. When there's really big waves, that means idiots are going to try to surf on them, and some will die horrible, agonizing, awful, miserable deaths. But I guess in the pursuit of big waves, everything is fair game. A flash flood watch was in effect for Saturday morning to Monday evening due to the potential for rare and damaging impacts, the National Weather Service said. President Joe Biden, speaking of strong and intrepid leadership, on Friday warned people in the storm's path to prepare for the storm. Oh, Joe. Thanks for that. I don't know what we would do without you. I urge everyone in the path of this storm to take precautions and listen to the guidance of state and local officials. They're really going out on a limb there, dude. He's meeting with the leaders of Japan and South Korea this week, which means we should probably expect Hunter Biden to start receiving millions of dollars from those countries immediately afterward, which is just going to be an amazing coincidence, obviously. Storm was turning off the coast of Mexico Friday and nearing Baja California, where a hurricane watch was issued for the community. Because we have to always say community. We can't just say city or region or area. Community has replaced all of those words in the new and better woke English lexicon. As it approaches, it will encounter colder ocean water temperatures and land interaction, which will cause this storm to rapidly weaken. At that time, it may be a strong tropical storm. Hillary became a hurricane early Thursday and was upgraded to a Category 4 by 11 p.m., but it's expected to weaken to a tropical storm by the time the bulk of the storm hits San Diego on Sunday. The latest track forecast had the storm's trajectory turning north towards Southern California Friday and turning again to approach Baja California over the weekend. The storm is expected to weaken by the time it gets close to San Diego due to unfavorable atmospheric conditions and the fact that ocean water in our region is too cold to sustain a major hurricane, which I guess is why we don't have hurricanes. The NHC, which tracks the trajectory of the storm, advises that the current cone accounts for uncertainty and is an estimate of possibilities. The tropical storm could switch direction or wind speeds in the days to come. It is important to remind users to not focus on the exact forecast track and intensity of Hillary, especially in the latter parts of the forecast period. Thank you, National Hurricane Center. Hillary could be the first tropical storm to impact San Diego County since Tropical Storm K in September 2022. Why do they all have lady names? So we have to have storms with lady names and emergency management officials who are ladies, and because maleness is just too toxic, obviously. We have to feminize every single thing, and it makes the world better. Just don't ask any questions. Storm clouds will increase on Saturday, and by Sunday or Monday, San Diego County was expected to feel the strongest effects from Hillary. I think, frankly, we have all felt strong effects from Hillary, if we're being honest. Just not necessarily a storm. The chance of showers could linger through next week, forecasters say. From Saturday to Monday, most coastal and inland communities could see up to 3 inches of rain, while mountains and desert areas could see between 4 and 7 inches. 4 and 7 inches around here is going to be a pretty big damn deal. When they say, Steven Stroud, welcome. Thanks for being here. I just got here, Cap. Come on with the Sucks Me Saturday. Political fuck yourself. Well, yeah, brother. Should I play the song now? I feel like I should play the song now. I feel like I've given people long enough to trickle in. And I want to play the song. I just barely finished it in time to change costume and start the live stream. All right, here goes. Sorry, I screwed that up. Give me a moment. Okay, here we go. Well, my buck's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. I can't buy no blow. Well, I'm a standing on a corner with my willie in my hand. I'm a waiting for a hooker with some big old cans, 'cause my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. I can't buy no blow. Well, I went up to the White House. I met my dad, Joey B. I told him, Daddy, I done caused another pregnancy, 'cause my rubber's got a hole in it. Yeah, my rubber's got a hole in it. Yeah, my rubber's got a hole in it. It's off to court I go. Well, there ain't no use of me getting so hard when all the streetwalkers won't take my credit card, 'cause my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. I can't buy no blow. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. I can't buy no blow. Full disclosure, I had to borrow that shirt from my dad because I didn't have anything remotely appropriate for Hank Williams. Pretty pleased with it, though. I'll release it publicly after we're done here. All right, let's stop that screen and let's present another screen. Let's find us some more Hurricane Hillary news. Oh, also, you know it's a big weather deal in San Diego when the Padres canceled their game on Sunday and they're playing a day-night Saturday doubleheader right now, which is it's serious then. I mean, normally we have like 1 or 2 rainouts every decade, but proactively canceling a game and playing a doubleheader when it's not even raining yet, that is pretty uncharted territory for us San Diegans, is all I'm saying. I'd like to find what the national news is saying about this thing. Oh, CNN. We love CNN. How much you want to bet CNN blames it on climate change? Hurricane Hillary prompts historic tropical storm warning for California as Southwest braces for dangerous rain and flooding. Residents in the Southwest are bracing for catastrophic, there's that word again, and life-threatening flooding as Hurricane Hillary is expected. And of course, wouldn't it have to be a storm named Hillary? Of all the names, it would have to be Hurricane Hillary. I feel like the universe planned that just to fuck with me. Is that just me? With the harshest impacts expected on Sunday into Monday, the hurricane, which may pour more than a year's worth of rain on parts of the Southwest. See, like I was just saying, weakened from a Category 3 to a Category 2 on Saturday. As it advanced toward California, according to the National Hurricane Center, the storm is still a major hurricane moving with maximum sustained winds of 110 miles per hour. The storm has sped up and is moving faster than... go away, ad. Flooding rain from the storm will start to arrive in the Southwest on Saturday. Good thing I got my yard work done this morning. Well in advance of Hillary's core of stronger winds, those winds could arrive as soon as Sunday morning, along with more prolific and dangerous rainfall, according to the National Hurricane Center. Did anybody like the song? Because I'm kind of pleased. I think I'm pleased with the song. I mean, my voice doesn't really have all that much character on its own, but I'm beginning to find that it's rather decent for mimicking other people, and I feel like I got pretty close to the Hank Williams effect. There is something extremely unnatural about tying a bandana in the front, though. First time I ever did that before. And I didn't have a very good cowboy hat, so I had to use what I had in my closet. Preparations for the impacts of flooding from rainfall should be completed as soon as possible, as heavy rain will increase ahead of the center on Saturday. There we go. The center of the storm is expected to hit San Diego Sunday afternoon, sometime between 3 and 6 p.m. The executive director of the city's Office of Emergency Services, Chris Heiser, another dude, imagine that, said at a Sunday news conference. Except it's not Sunday yet. Good job, CNN. We would never call you fake news. This is a large storm with a huge footprint. And unlike what we usually see in San Diego, in anticipation of the storm, officials across the region have begun to prepare for perilous road conditions, downed power infrastructure, and dangerous flood conditions, which reminds me, on the Hawaii wildfire thing, did any of you guys happen to see the quotes from that emergency management guy in Hawaii, who I guess has since resigned in shame and disgrace because he was terrible at his job and a bunch of people got killed because of it? And just one of these public officials who all he wants to do is talk about esoteric, hippy-dippy climate change, paganist bullshit. Like he was talking about, we need to all share the water and understand that water brings us all together. And how about if you just manage emergencies and make sure people don't die? Is that too much to ask? Am I having unreasonable expectations there? But here's the thing. The people in Hawaii, where Democrats control every single organ of government and every department of everything on the local and state level, will they be chastened by this complete, utter, catastrophic breakdown in the performance of their emergency management authorities? Or will they go right back out next year and vote for all the same Democrats? Because I'm telling you right now, they're going to go right back out next year and vote for all the same Democrats. And they will never in a million years identify any causal relationship between their voting behavior and bad, horrible, terrible, awful things happening in their lives. But I guess partisan tribalism is one hell of a drug, isn't it? As Rick James might say. Wow, Nevada's even getting in on the act. Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo announced Friday 100 state National Guard troops will be deployed to southern Nevada, which may see significant flooding. I quote, 100 guys are going to stand at the state line and go, "No, hurricane, you stop right there. You are not authorized to leave California, you damn bastard hurricane." President Joe Biden said in a Friday news conference the Federal Emergency Management Agency has preemptively positioned personnel and supplies to respond in Southern California or other parts of the region, which I guess is better than the Hawaiians have done with FEMA. And wasn't it great? I know I talked about this the other night, but when they went up and asked the president, for any sort of quote or soundbite about the devastating Hawaii wildfire, which is the easiest question a president ever gets, frankly. All you have to say is, yeah, it's terrible. We're thinking about them. We're going to get them all the help we can. What does he say instead? No comment. Now, isn't no comment a thing politicians normally say when they've done some terrible thing and just gotten busted and don't want to talk about it because there's nothing they can say that won't make it worse? That's when you say no comment. You don't say no comment when there's a natural disaster. You say, and I'll tell you another thing about Joe Biden. When he gets to Hawaii on Monday, which is, I believe that's when he's going to be there, I will bet you $1,000 that he's going to go up to some bereaved family who's just lost a loved one, and he's going to say, "I know exactly what you're going through, because my son Bo died in a fire too." Because that's just what Joe Biden does. when he's talking to bereaved families, he simply announces that his son Beau died in exactly the same way that their son or daughter died. How many different ways has Beau Biden died now? It's his dad so enjoys using his corpse for political cover. I think I've run out of the number of different ways that dude died. When, in point of fact, he died of brain cancer in Delaware, but we've had Joe saying that he died in combat in Iraq, or he died from burn fumes in Iraq, or he died in Afghanistan, or basically Beau Biden died in whatever place and in whatever way is politically convenient for Joe Biden at the moment. And just what a lovely, wonderful way to honor your son's memory by just using him as a political get out of jail free card. Isn't that a very classy and empathetic thing for a man to do? I want to find some more up-to-date news on this damn thing. Ooh, the Independent. Let's see what the English are saying about it. Southern California has been issued its first ever tropical storm watch as Hurricane Hilary continues on its path from the Pacific toward Baja California, Mexico, and the Southwest United States. And this is new. The outer bands of the hurricane, which was downgraded from a Category 4 to a Category 2 on Saturday, were arriving in Baja as of roughly 2 p.m. Pacific time, or nearly 4 hours ago. As of Saturday afternoon, the hurricane had maximum sustained winds of 110 miles per hour, according to the NHC. Expected to begin impacting the U.S. early on Sunday, which we already know. Officials in Mexico have mobilized members of the army to help respond to the disaster. California has activated National Guardsmen. Are you allowed to say National Guardsmen? Isn't that too gender specific? Aren't you supposed to say National Guards persons? I thought all gendered terms were automatically offensive. Nevada, yeah, we saw that. Hurricane Hilary is causing abnormal wave patterns across the West Coast. Kevin Wallace, director of forecasting at the wave prediction firm Surfline, because of course there's a wave prediction firm called Surfline, told NBC News notable swells were observed in the usually tranquil Sea of Cortez, and groups of waves were spotted moving parallel to Southern California, which means the surfers are all going to go out there and get crushed and perish, because that's just what surfers do when there's a big storm. Sandbags, got to talk about the sandbags. The city of Huntington Beach will be extending our sandbag fill station hours today until 7 p.m. to allow our Huntington Beach residents and businesses with more time to get sandbags. The hell do we care about Huntington Beach? They're not even in the red strip. Federal forecasters are warning people in the path of Hurricane Hilary to finish their flooding preparations as soon as possible, which I assume includes cutting down the tops of your trees that might fall off. I'm not saying anything about my landlord, but yep, you can catch catfish on bullshit. All right, The Independent is not really turning me on. I want something better. We already did NBC. Orange County Register interactive map. Ooh, flash flooding map. Now, come on, map. You see right there at the bottom on the right side where it says Escondido? That's me. So I'm right in the middle of the potential cone of devastation. Which is why we're doing this telethon right now. Give early and give often. Might be homeless tomorrow. I'm just saying. Where's the article? Is there an article here somewhere? Or is it just a map? I think it's just a map. CNN, we did. KTLA, ABC News. Catastrophic flooding. There's that word again. Expected in Southwest. Tropical storm warnings are in effect for more than 42 million Americans in Southern California. Because that's how many people haven't fled screaming the state already.
Are you looking for more in this world?
Nope. You be quiet. You be quiet. The center of Hillary is located roughly 285 miles south-southeast of Punta Fueña, Mexico, and 640 miles south-southeast of San Diego. Rain will start to reach the southern regions of California and Arizona. Arizona's involved too now, apparently. Later Saturday and continue into Monday. Flood watches are in effect from Southern California and Arizona to Oregon and Idaho. Idaho? Seriously? Come on now. President Joe Biden has received a briefing from senior staff on the latest preparedness plans for Hurricane Hillary. Well, that sure makes me feel better. And his team is working with state and local agencies ahead of the storm, according to the White House. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell, there is another lady emergency manager, said earlier she has been providing continuous updates to the White House ahead of the storm. I'm sure that Joe is hanging on every word, too. Provided Matlock is already over and Murder, She Wrote isn't coming on right now. LA County parks to temporarily close. Where the hell are you supposed to slam your heroin? I feel like there should be more and better news about this apocalyptic weather event. This is kind of disappointing me, frankly. How many people do we have watching right now anyway? Let's try page 2. Try Reuters. We haven't made fun of them yet. Oh, here we go. We got some dramatic language here. Hurricane Hillary was barreling toward Mexico's Baja California Peninsula on Saturday. A U.S. government agency said, warning that catastrophic, there's that word again, and life-threatening flooding was likely on the peninsula and U.S. Southwest. The hurricane already was disrupting flights and baseball games in the United States. The National Hurricane Center said the hurricane was weakening on its path to the west central coast of the peninsula this evening. It predicted it would lose more strength and turn into a tropical storm as it heads towards Southern California during the day and evening on Sunday. Dangerous rains remain a major concern, the NHC said, with up to 10 inches. Well, that's the highest prognostication we've seen so far on the rainfall. 10 inches, damn. That would be like some Noah's flood shit around here. Expected in some regions of Baja and California. Flash and urban flooding, totally catastrophic, locally catastrophic, sorry, is expected, especially in the northern portions of the peninsula, the Miami-based agency said in its latest advisory. And that's, Miami is about where I would expect a hurricane center to be. 3 to 6 inches, isolated amounts of 10 inches was expected across portions of Southern California and Southern Nevada as well, the NHC added. Biden received a briefing, which I'm sure he totally forgot about as soon as it was over. In Baja California, some school and other non-essential activities were canceled through Monday. And authorities in Mexico's second largest city, Tijuana, urged people in high-risk zones to move to temporary shelters. Now, if we're talking about Tijuana, given the level of building standards there, I feel like the entire place is a high-risk zone, is all I'm saying. Hillary was moving north-northwest at 17 miles per hour, packing maximum sustained winds of 110 miles per hour. Heavy rains were already affecting portions of Baja California and the U.S. Southwest. U.S. authorities have warned citizens and businesses to take precautions. Nearly 200 flights scheduled for Sunday at the San Diego International Airport have been canceled, and another 184 on Monday, which is kind of crazy. In California, Major League Baseball's Los Angeles-based Dodgers and Angels. Wait, let me stop you right there, Reuters. The Angels are not based in Los Angeles. They may have changed their name to Los Angeles Angels a while back. They still play in Anaheim. Nothing they do is based in Los Angeles. I'm just saying. Brought their Sunday games forward to Saturday to turn them into split doubleheaders, which the Padres also did. Do the Padres not count because we're not in LA? I think I'm kind of offended by that. The city's soccer teams, moving on to the important shit, Los Angeles FC and LA Galaxy both postponed their Sunday matches due to the threat of heavy rains and flooding. And that's when you're postponing soccer matches, that's the real human tragedy. Am I right? Yeah, Stephen, I've never seen a tornado. Not looking forward to seeing one, but I am perfectly willing to leave California and go to a place with tornadoes as long as it means I'm not in California anymore. And I've always, frankly, my entire life, I have been mystified by people who say, well, sure, we have tornadoes and hurricanes and whatever where we live, but it's better than the earthquakes you guys have in California. Really? Because here's the thing about that. The number of earthquakes we have that you can actually feel is maybe 2 or 3 per decade, give or take. And they normally happen at about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning when you're asleep anyway. And it's just not something that should bother anyone all that much. Earthquakes are just not scary. The ground shakes a little bit and then it's over. And, once in a while, Los Angeles gets crushed like a pancake. And there's nothing wrong with that. Well, let's see what they're saying in San Luis Obispo. Come on, you guys aren't going to get shit from this. Maybe a little bit of rain. Come on, man. No, I wouldn't be interested. No. Fine, go to hell then. I'll read somebody else's shitty newspaper. People magazine, this should be some hard-hitting journalism. I bet there's going to be a lot of emotional trigger words here. And this is just copy pasted from the Reuters article that we already read. LA Times. Speaking of emotional, maybe they're going to say Hurricane Hillary is the blackface of white supremacy. Oh, here we got emotional trigger words right off the bat. Hurricane Hillary continued its charge towards Southern California, bringing with it the potential for lashing wind and torrential rain and heightening fears over flooding, mudslides, and extended power outages as residents scramble to prepare. Now, that first paragraph is just a tour de force of spurious appeals to emotion. Well done, LA Times. That's why we love you. Meteorologists have warned that Hillary, which weakened to a Category 3 hurricane on Saturday and is expected to diminish further into a tropical storm before reaching Southern California, could cause life-threatening and catastrophic, there's that word again, flooding. Mountain and desert areas are expected to be hardest hit. On Saturday, people on Catalina Island were urged to evacuate ahead of Hillary's arrival. Some of these sentences are just awesome just because its name is Hillary. I mean, just as a general principle, I would always want to evacuate ahead of Hillary's arrival. Maybe that's just me. Several communities in San Bernardino County were also under evacuation warnings as rain began falling in the desert. Rain in the desert in August. Not a typical thing in California. This could be one of the most devastating storms that we've had in California in more than a decade. Nancy Ward, there's another chick emergency manager, director of California Governor's Office of Emergency Services, said during a press conference Saturday, "Make no mistake, this is a very, very dangerous and significant storm. Heavy rainfall and strong winds associated with this storm began today already and will be felt well beyond the center and storm and across Southern California. Worried residents rushed to prepare for the first tropical storm to hit California since 1939. The storm dropped almost 8 inches of rain on Mount Baldy in Los Angeles and killed dozens. Gray clouds loomed low over the San Jacinto Mountains on Saturday as dozens of Palm Springs residents swarmed a pit of sand at City Hall to fill bags to secure their houses from floodwater. You see all the emotional trigger words, just one after the other. Isn't it great? People stood shoulder to shoulder, arms glistening with sweat from laboring amid the thick, hot air. This person thinks they're freaking Ernest Hemingway. This is supposed to be a news article. And the LA Times wonders why we call them fake news. The city has handed out more than 22,000 sandbags since Friday morning, and another 20,000 were on track to arrive Saturday afternoon. Since yesterday about 8 a.m., the crowds have been just like this all day, nonstop, said Daniel Martinez, the acting deputy director for the Department of Maintenance and Facilities. As soon as it gets here, you'll see the sand disappear. In a neighborhood near downtown Palm Springs, 55-year-old Anna Kataranicia rushed to lug bags of sand out of her car while a contractor drove an electric wet saw into her cement driveway. She hired him to build a quick and dirty drain in front of her garage 1 foot deep to save her house from potential flooding. This isn't normal for us, and everybody is panicked, she said. Taranicia, a Chicago native who moved to Palm Springs 2 years ago in search of sunshine and a daily swim. You couldn't swim every day in Chicago? They don't have fitness clubs? Said her California dream might end with this storm. I'm going back home, she said. I'd rather shovel snow. National Weather Service has issued a tropical storm warning for much of Southern California from Point Mugu to the U.S.-Mexico border. Warning of strong winds, heavy rain, possible flooding, and dangerous beach conditions. Los Angeles, Orange, and San Diego counties could see up. We already heard that. While that's far more moisture than is typical for August, the mountains and deserts are expected to see the most moisture, with up to 12 inches of rainfall possible in some areas, according to the National Weather Service. The system has gained some speed and it's going to be moving through a little bit on the quicker side. By the time we get to Monday afternoon or so, we're expecting most of the precipitation to have moved out of the area, aside from a few lingering showers, said Ariel Cohen, another chick, the meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service in Oxnard. Forecasters expect sustained winds whipping through the area at 35 to 45 miles per hour. The highest gusts, up to 50 or 60, are expected in the mountains and deserts. Residents rushed to stock up on household essentials like water and batteries, leaving grocery store aisles bare. I bet all the Bud Light was still there, though. At the 99 cents only store on Sunset Boulevard in Silver Lake, gallons of bottled water, battery-powered tea lights, and pillar candles were selling fast. Daniel Flores of Echo Park went looking for nylon rope to secure a tarpaulin across the top of his Oldsmobile Cutlass, which he parks outside. Dude, I feel like if you need to put a tarp over the top of your car in order to keep rain from getting in, might be time for a new car. Just a thought. The sedan has a broken window, which he decided to wait to fix because the summer is usually so dry. Because that's the sort of hard-hitting journalism that you expect from the LA Times. We really needed to hear about this guy's broken car window and the tarp that he's going to strap across the top of his Cutlass. Who expects a hurricane in LA, Flores said. On Catalina Island, some residents and tourists were rushing to leave on boats Saturday afternoon ahead of Hillary's arrival. Officials have said there could be prolonged utility outages on the island, home to about 4,000 year-round residents. And boat service to and from the island is not likely to resume before Tuesday. The Catalina Flyer ferry service, which runs between Avalon and Newport Beach, was near capacity for its final 2 runs back to the mainland on Saturday. Gina McMullen, 47, of Oceanside, had traveled to Catalina on Thursday for a weekend away, but the family decided to cut their trip a day short when they got an alert about evacuations. And, you know, Gina McMullen's weekend vacation is almost as important as the dude with the tarp on his Oldsmobile. This is crucially important stuff. Packing up, the mood on the island was calm. No one was outwardly panicking, McMullen said. I just hope the storm doesn't cause as much damage as people think. You just heard about all the wildfires on Maui. And now to think about another little island getting some destruction. It just makes me really sad, McMullen said. I'm hoping everyone is being cautious, and it's going to turn out better than we thought. In Los Angeles, officials overseeing the county's 7 jails are trying to anticipate what Hillary's impacts might be on the county lockups. Well, I'm sure that Gavin Newsom is going to find an excuse to say this is why we should just let everybody out of prison, because that's what he does for every goddamn other thing. That's what he did for COVID. Well, we can't have these inmates getting sick. We better just let them all go to prey on the community. Oh, your conviction doesn't count anymore because COVID, right? He'll do the same thing for this stupid storm. Just watch. I guarantee you, bet you $1,000. Though the jails have dealt with leaks and drips in the past, for Christ's sake, Assistant Sheriff Sergio Aloma said they don't have a history of major storm-related flooding, and there were no plans to cancel regularly scheduled weekend visitation. Jail staff are preparing to open a temporary custody emergency operations center on Sunday morning and move to 12-hour shifts to increase staffing levels during the storm. Still, some families and advocates for inmates were concerned. Yes, I want to hear all about the concerns of prison inmate activists. Those are the most important concerns that there could possibly be in the entire world. People in jails and prisons are particularly vulnerable to the effects of extreme weather, including storms, wildfires, and scorching heat. All threats that prisoners have little ability to avoid inside locked cells. Oh, the poor prison inmates. My heart bleeds for them. When will their suffering end? I am in a constant state of worry, said Daryl Munn, whose son has been in Twin Towers for 6 years. The jails are old and dilapidated. Hey, dude, maybe if you don't want to go to an old and dilapidated jail, don't be a fucking criminal. Around 12:45 p.m. Saturday, the San Bernardino County Fire Station in 29 Palms ran out of sandbags for the second time in as many days. The station gave out about 2,500 bags Friday and 3,000 Saturday, a firefighter said as he taped a sign to the door informing residents that they had no more. Sand, because, sand is a difficult thing to get. Sand. It's not even building sand. It's just freaking sand. I don't know. The beach? Plenty of sand there. Just saying. Rebecca Rasmussen and Martin Ream, both Marines, loaded up on water and groceries, including food that can be grilled if the power goes out. They checked their stash of flashlights and put gas in the... You have a stash of flashlights? Why do you need a stash of flashlights? I think I would rather not know, frankly. But they had been arguing about whether they needed sandbags. I figured we might as well put in the work now so we're not sorry later, Rasmussen said in the fire station parking lot as she scooped sand into a bag. We're preparing for the worst. Rasmussen is from Oklahoma, the so-called buckle of the tornado belt, which I've never heard before. And Ream is from Minnesota, where snowstorms are common. Had no idea that it snows in Minnesota? Wow. Who knew? Mark Powell, a 50-year resident of San Bernardino County, said he's not too concerned about himself as his home is near a ridge, but he's worried about people in low-lying areas, he said, citing the potential historic strength of the storm. I've seen some pretty bad ones, but if it hits like they're forecasting, this would be the big one. And normally in California, when they say the big one, they're talking about a hypothetical earthquake that never comes, but I guess those days are gone now. And Steven says, Cap, I'm glad I'm not the only one that reads this bullshit. Wakey, sheeple. All right, we're hour and 10 minutes in. I think I'm gonna play the song again for whoever missed it the first time, and then we'll close things out. I assume that's agreeable for. I'm kind of pleased with the song. Wouldn't mind hearing it again. Is that arrogant of me? All right, one moment. Well, my bucket's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. I can't buy no blow. Well, I'm standing on a corner with my willie in my hand. I'm waiting for a hooker with some big old cans, 'cause my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. I can't buy no blow. Well, I went up to the White House. I met my dad, Joey B. I told him, Daddy, I done caused another pregnancy, 'cause my rubber's got a hole in it. Yeah, my rubber's got a hole in it. Yeah, my rubber's got a hole in it. It's off to court I go. Well, there ain't no use of me getting so hard when all the streetwalkers won't take my credit card, 'cause my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. I can't buy no blow. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. Yeah, my baggy's got a hole in it. I can't buy no blow. That's all I've got for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming. Say a prayer for me and everybody else in SoCal. And Baja while you're at it. See you next time. Do not comply. Get off my lawn.